Okay. Well, we're getting our pre-workout drink here together. Let's see here. Oh yeah. Nice. Very nice. It's just right now it's nothing crazy. It's just some uh bodybuilder blood plus some creatine. Just kidding. What we got is some Spark Advocare. It's just something I found at Walgreens, and it had enough good shit in it for what I needed it to do. And then some nitric oxide with L-citrulline and so forth in it. So we got a good pump going here with a good amount of caffeine. I may stop by and get me a energy drink as well, because why not? Oh yeah, health. Well, I'm not going super duper crazy. It doesn't have a crazy amount of caffeine in it. What are we looking at here? What was it? 120. Yeah, see, that's nothing. I need a little bit more. Need a little bit more. So I usually do about 2 scoops, and then get a get a creatine drink, get an energy drink to go along with it. So that's what we are looking at. So I have a buddy here that may pop into the video for a second. Looks like they're going to the beach today, which is always a good thing. Always a good thing. How you doing, man? Chilling. Doing a little workout video. I need you to put some videos together for me soon. Absolutely. How much are you gonna charge? Well, it just depends what we're working on. Sweet, yeah, I can do that for like $50, depending on how many there are. Absolutely. I will. My grandmother's coming into town tonight, so maybe tomorrow. Cool? Cool. Have a fun time at the beach. All right. Too many good people out there, I tell you that much. That's a funny quote right there. I guess there cannot be too many good people out there. Not be too many. All right. Let's get a little bit of this drink going, because I tell you what, you do not want to be slow on your creatine intake. Once you mix it, you get on it. There is a level of detriment that comes with letting your creatine sit in the water. See, there is a chemical called creatine, and then there's a chemical called creatinine. Creatinine is a waste product of creatine, and it's something that can build up in your kidneys. It can show up on blood tests and so forth. If you're somebody who has to do, uh, you know, frequent blood tests, then you will see an increase of your creatinine once you start taking creatine, and something that you should tell your doctors if you are taking, because they will see that and they'll be like, "Hey, you good?" So, no, they when you mix in your creatine, it can take a little while for it to turn into creatinine. But my brother said it takes like an hour for it to fully change. But the packaging says about 10 minutes is when you're supposed to consume it within. So I try to stay within that window. There was just this one time I took a bunch of pre-workout and put it into a jug, and I put my creatine in there with it, and I drank it throughout my workout. Now, this workout ended up taking a lot longer than I had expected. There was a few things that held it up, and I eventually, I was drinking the last of the drink at around like maybe 2 hours being at the gym, and I noticed that even the color of the drink had changed. So it went from being a colored drink to being foggy and cloudy. And I was like, this is kind of weird. I was like, what's going on with this? And then the next day I went to go do back, and my kidney was absolutely killing me. And I thought it was like a lower back muscle, but I realized that it was like right in the location where a kidney would be. And I was like, oh Lord, what have I done? What have I done? And so like I kind of looked it up, and I was like, I tried to. It took me actually a while to kind of get around to what may have caused my kidney to be causing me a little bit of pain, and I was like, that makes a lot of sense. If the creatine can turn into creatinine, and that can build up in your kidneys, you can feel it, happen. So if you're taking creatine, try to keep yourself on a high liquid. Try to take a lot of liquids in a day and try to drink it within 10 minutes of mixing. Ah, oh yeah. I, uh, I recall these videos of Sam Sulik drinking his pre-workout and having these like shakes. This is not one of those pre-workouts. There have been pre-workouts that I have taken that do not taste as delicious and nutritious as the ones that I'm taking here. In fact, this is probably one of the best tasting combinations of pre-workout that I've ever had. And there's a lot of good tasting pre-workout out there. Some from Raw, some from Rise. There's some good ones out there, taste-wise. This, however, it's colored with beetroot, so you don't get all those artificial colorings. It's flavored like fruit punch or something like that, and it tastes amazing. I could I could drink this I have been drinking it every single workout pretty much. So the nitric oxide is an interesting uh, new new thing that I'm trying out, and it's the first time that I tried it. I think it may have done a little bit too much for me, so I don't actually take a full scoop of it. Take like a half a scoop and mix it in with my regular pre-workout, and then I have some creatine in there, and that's my magic mix right now. I also try to stay away from the sucralose, though I am pretty sure the ones that I am taking here have a little bit of that in them. In them. I might have to check that out actually. Done. Killed. Now, once I get to the gym, I'll pound some water. So I forgot to fill up my water bottle when I left the house. So I am low on liquids. And now that I am low on liquids, I will now suffer. No, I am fine. I just want to make sure that I have enough liquid in my system to utilize the creatine properly to get a good pump. Because you really cannot get a good pump unless you're nice and hydrated. That is just the reality of the situation. So the more water you're drinking, the better hydrated you are, the better off you're going to be. But all right, so what are we hitting today? We are hitting back and biceps. What does that mean for our hero today? That means rows. That means pull downs. That means some variation of curling. Um, See, here's the thing though. The bicep is really in rehab mode. I have this little compression sleeve that I'm probably going to put on for today's workout, just as a precautionary measure. Um, I still feel a little bit of poppiness in my elbow, so I'm not going to be doing any preacher. No ridiculous supination, because that's really what kind of irks the whole system is that supination that happens, this turning upwards of the hand. The pronated motions are honestly decent. Like doing like a inward hammer curl, I can stomach that pretty well. Um, I can do some, from the side, curling up like that. Keeping it neutral at the side and then supinating it up at the top. But that supination in the stretch position is where I'm really having some issues mentally and physically. So we're taking it light in that area of feeling, and what we're doing to kind of get my arm back into using that range of motion is I'm going to the cables, right? I'm going to the cables, and I'm going real light. I'm doing some crucifix or kneeling bicep curls, right? So what that allows me to do is it allows me to supinate my hand, allows me to supinate, but it also keeps it real light, and it allows me to kind of put my elbow down if I start to feel a twinge or an issue. So it's like I can continue the exercise away from the stretch portion if I absolutely have to. So, but it also exposes my arm to that side of the movement without being on free weights or having a situation where the uh, the exercise is kind of painful. That has an opportunity to have to drop the weight. Like I went to go do a preacher curl with the lightest easy bar they had, and the moment that I started the motion, I felt the pop, and I had to drop the weight. But it kind of it made my other arm twist, and it was just not the safest situation. I didn't hurt anything, and it wasn't necessarily a dramatic situation. It was just not optimal by any means. So I was just like, let's not do preachers, at least in this situation. Um, I don't know. There might be a world where doing the preacher machine bicep curl might be a valid reintroduction into the motion as well because it's not as free weighty, and if I drop it, it's not like my other arm is going to go crazy. Yeah, I think that may be now that I'm thinking of it, might be a good option, but we'll see. The idea, though, is that we're going to be focusing mostly on the back motions, trying to get a really good back pump, right? Because what have we been doing recently? We've been increasing our caloric intake like crazy. We have crazy amount of carbs flowing through us at this point in time. I'm staying hydrated as well as I can, and the idea is just I think that the pumps are just going to get more and more ridiculous as the next couple weeks develop. That being said, I'm also going to get puffier. There's just multiple aspects to this, but the pumps are going to feel, because like the chest pumps that I've gotten, the leg pumps that I've been getting have been crazy, at least in my opinion, at least how I feel about them. There was this chest pump that I had a couple, 2 chest days ago. Yesterday wasn't the best chest day because I had to cut it short a bit, and I had to kind of rush through my sets and rush through my posing. So it wasn't like I was really getting the most out of what I was doing yesterday, but still had a great workout. But there was this 2 chest days ago. I saw this separation between my upper chest and my lower chest. Just the cray or mid chest. I don't know what you would really call them, but your pectoralis major, your pectoralis minor. But you could just see this stark difference and then divide between those 2 muscles. The striation was a deep and dramatic one, and I absolutely loved seeing that. uh, so the crazier the carbs can be and the more hydrated you can achieve, the better these pumps are going to be at the end of the day. There is a world where I could probably take a better pump pre-workout, and there's a world where I was taking my magnesium as I should be every day. But until I am a perfect human, we're just going to have to deal with our imperfect, perfect pumps, because at the end of the day, no there's no day that I am not going to enjoy a decent chest pump or back pump. It's just something about it that, after being at the gym for as long as I have now, at the beginning, you didn't really get that pumpy factor. It wasn't something that really was super evident. You could see a pump. You knew it was happening, but as I was still a skeleton. I was still a coat rack. So while I'm still small, I'm not saying that I'm anywhere near big yet. I've gotten bigger, and the pumps show that. Like, I mean, when I see the caps on my shoulders at this point in time, like, dude, 3 years ago, Jason would just be like, "You're telling me that I'm gonna look like no?" So, you know, there's a level of me that is super thankful and grateful for the progress that I've already achieved and the physique that I have. But I want to push it further. I have goals that I promised people, and I have things I want to see myself achieve. So, um, what we're going to do is we're just going to keep pushing it. And we're going to keep progressing at a level that is enjoyable. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, seeing myself get big has been one of the most confidence boosting things that I've experienced in the past, like, 10 years. So I'm going to keep it up, and there's upgrades that are coming, and I can't wait to tell you guys about new developments in the next couple days, because there is a few things that I think are going to be a little exciting. But I'm pulling into the gym now. Let's go get a freaky back pump. This is Jason, signing off. So let me just recap. We had some uh, bicep and back movements today, and a very pleasant surprise was that the bicep felt great. The Over the past about month, I've had some bad issues with the bicep after going to a rave, and I don't know, just I thought it was going to take a little bit longer to heal up, but it's feeling great. So still going to go light, still kind of follow rehab style weight, and really just ease into the motions and the movements and focus on free weights and supporting and stabilizing. But at the end of the day, it felt really good. And that being said, the three movements we chose today were the alternating bicep curls, the hammer curls, and some crucifix curls. Crucifix curls were a little bit higher up so that I have that ability to kind of have less tension at the bottom of the rep, and I'm able to kind of ease into that problem area of my arm, and it still felt amazing. So we pushed the weight a little bit, but we're not going heavy just yet. The other side of this is we did do back, which started off with some lat pull downs on the cable, and those felt, again, just great. I mean, I felt a lot of lat activation. I do this more, I don't go straight armed at the top of the rep. I just kind of flare my elbows out and really feel the lat getting the stretch and starting the contraction. So if you can kind of feel it out after a little while, you'll kind of feel where your biceps and grip is taking over and where your lats are taking over. And what you really want to do is enunciate the lats on a pull down. Right? So we're kind of getting to that point. And then we had some supersets, of course, with some barbell rows and shrugs. We just did the same weight that we were rowing on the shrugs. And then we threw in some rear delt flies as well as some, what do you call them? Back extensions. So we did kill some back extensions there. Other than that, we had a good pump. It felt great. You know, I'm about to go top off this 3,600 calorie day with one more meal. I guess technically it's two more meals and a snack, but we got time. It's early on in the night, and I'm excited to you know, read the scale tonight and what it is tomorrow morning, because I had a little bit of a dip last week as I was only on 3,300 calories. Now I've bumped to 3,600 calories, and I went up to 130 and then 130.2 this morning. I'm hoping that if I kill this 3,600 calorie diet today, that I'm going to wake up to something like 130.7 or like even 131. That'd be really crazy. Because, I mean, at this point, we're still getting back to our peak weight, which was 142. And we want to blow that out of the water this time. We want to get to 150, we want to get to 160, and then ultimately, we want to hit 180. So, we're doing well so far. We just want to keep doing well. We want to keep pushing our mind and body. And the thing is now we have to get into a progressively overloading training style again, since the arm is feeling good, feeling better. I can start pushing my bicep and getting a little bit more arm gains, and not be so afraid of pull downs and rows. And, we're gonna start progressively getting back to where we were and past, because we need to push the legs to a new realm of weight. We need to push everything really to a new realm of weight. The only thing we're really kind of backing off on is kind of the back. We're gonna have a dedicated back day every week, but as far as hitting the back, it's really not as necessary as the rest of these parts. Like I'll do a front relaxed, pose, like classic pose, and I can see my lats. I can see the Dorito chips shape. It's just my arms look like twigs sticking out of this large torso. So the idea is that we want to kind of we want to increase the size proportionally. So bigger shoulders, bigger arms, bigger legs, more chiseled abs, basically bigger everything except for my back. Like, yes, I want it to grow a little bit along with everything else, but I'm not focusing on it. I really am not. I'm focusing on the other portions of my body that need to catch up, in all honesty. I am turning into my neighborhood where I'm going to see my grandmother for the first time in a long time, so that's exciting. And other than that, you guys have a wonderful rest of your day, a wonderful rest of your week. God, I really hope this actually. This is Jason.